In 1924, J.E. McCulloch published the book Home, the Savior of Civilization, where he made the profound statement, "No other success can compensate for a failure at home." If you're anything like me, you will spend all of your time and energy making sure that your business does not burn to the ground. But what if you are more at risk at burning out at home? And specifically, I'm talking to the parents who are also entrepreneurs. I recently came across a study about parenting and parental burnout, and it said that up to 9% of parents in Western countries are experiencing parental burnout, and it's escalating quickly. It comes with exhaustion so deep it leads to guilt, distance from their kids, and sometimes even thoughts of escape. Now, this is even worse for entrepreneurs. So what I'm going to be going over today is I'm going to talk to you about how to protect your energy at home so you can show up better, not just as an entrepreneur, but more specifically and more importantly, as a parent. So big reason I'm doing this episode today specific for entrepreneurs who are also parents is because I feel like the risk for burnout on either end is much higher. The biggest problem I've seen with entrepreneurship in my own personal experiences, I've had the other job. I've almost lived 3 lives, right? So I was in the military. I also had a job post-military, like a full-time drive to work type job. And now I've been an entrepreneur for well over a decade, just working for myself, a lot of that working from home. And what the biggest difference I saw in being a full-time, I pay all the bills through my efforts of entrepreneurship, is that I cannot compartmentalize, or I struggled for a very long time to compartmentalize the different areas of my life, right? When I was at work in the military, I could leave my work at work, I could come home and be a parent. Now, the job was incredibly demanding. Sometimes the hours were really long. So I'm not trying to say one is easier or harder. Don't go down that road. What I'm saying is compartmentalization was easier in my mind. Same with the job. You know, I could focus on go to work, drive, do the job to the best of my ability, go home, don't worry about it, just focus on being a parent. And then once I made that switch to full-time entrepreneur, I had 2 kids at the time, I have 3 now. That's where I realized the big shift. I was like, wow, this is a lot harder because there's a lot of stress. You have to constantly be thinking about ideas, or maybe you don't have to be, but you are. You're always thinking about ideas. What's next? You're thinking about the business, how things could be better. And it's very hard to shut that down. So your mind is racing constantly. You're trying to learn how to turn that off. And then you're also navigating the daily battle of parenting, which can be an absolute gift, but also an incredible challenge. You know, there's just so much that can go wrong and all these things can go towards burnout. And when I say things that could go wrong, I'm not talking about all these things in parenting can go wrong. It's just we want our family life to be good, but we do so at the expense of our own personal mental health. And that's the thing that can go wrong the most. And so if you want to burn out, like you want to be on a good path, here are the 3 steps to do that. 1, if you treat your spouse like they're your 2 roommates just managing tasks, that's the first thing that you can do. The second thing is don't have anything you call your own. Business does not count. And the third thing is beat yourself up daily at how much you suck or how much you're failing at whatever it is, whether it's your fitness, your parenting, or even in the business yourself. If you do those 3 things, so you are treating your spouse just like a roommate who's doing things, you do some tasks, she does some tasks, you don't have anything to call your own, no hobbies or whatever, and then you beat yourself up daily, you are doing all of the opposite things of what proven psychological methods, specifically in the self-determination theory, prove that you will end up on this path to burnout. So if you want to not do that, here are the 4 things that you need to focus on. So this is the anti-burnout equation for entrepreneurs who are parents. So the first thing is relatedness. So do not parent in isolation. You need to put things on the calendar right now. So what I mean by this is have a weekly meeting with your spouse, your partner. And this is not just to, again, divvy up the task. This is more about what you're actually, interested in. What are your goals? What are your aspirations? How can you catch up? How can you maintain that relationship? And then also get other people involved, right? Get other people involved, like call in the grandparents, call in the aunts and uncles, like do life with other people. Make sure you're scheduling time with your friends, go play pickleball, go out to dinner, and schedule those things. Just go ahead and put them on the calendar. At the beginning of the month, put all of those things on the calendar. This is not something that I'm great at. In all honesty, I have such a closed, myopic view of business and fitness and parenting. It's very hard for me to, kind of break out of that and go to dinner with, friends or whatever. It's very hard, not only just time-wise. It's hard for me to think about things like that. But that's the first thing that you need to do is make sure you're not doing this alone. Make sure that you actually feel like you have relationships out there. That's the first thing that's going to help prevent you from getting to burnout. Because I know when I spend time one-on-one with other people or a group of friends, it removes that like seriousness of entrepreneurship for me. It removes that like, oh yeah, like that problem I've been just fixated on. Like it's really not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. And then same with parenting. Like I can get really worried or spun up or like super busy and stressed out. And it's like when you have that moment to pause, reflect, and take a step back, you realize, you know what? Things are going to be fine. Like it's not that big of a deal. So making sure getting other people involved is a big one. The second thing is autonomy. You need to keep something that is yours. So 2 things that I recommend. The first is I actually had a conversation with an entrepreneur about this recently who transitioned from working in an office full time to starting to work from home. And he was like, I have no time. Like there's no buffer between being the entrepreneur to stepping out of my office and then being a dad. And I've been in that situation. And I actually had a recommendation from my wife years ago that I've implemented, periodically when I feel like it's needed. If I had like a really crazy day at work and I just know like, okay, I got to step into the next phase, just have like some sort of 10-minute wind down routine, even if it's just in your office, if you can walk before you like officially sign off for the day, whatever, listen to a podcast, meditate, breathe, whatever you have to do to set yourself up. Like, hey, work is getting shut down. I'm now moving on to the next thing. That's the first thing that you need to do because you've selected that, right? You're not just being forced. I say forced to work, but like you're working all day, right? You're doing that for the family and then immediately go into parenting. That can be a challenge sometimes if you don't at least create 10 minutes of space and you need to select it. It's the autonomy of that selection that's the biggest thing. Now, the other thing within autonomy is making sure that you have some sort of hobby that you are actively working on. For me, I consider fitness my hobby, but I wouldn't recommend other people put it in the same boat because some people don't actually enjoy fitness as much as I do. Like I'm always actually trying to improve something. Like I'm trying to get better at fitness, not just fitter. It's like, oh, well, let's learn something about heart rate training. Let's learn something new with kettlebells or barbells or whatever. Like I just actually enjoy it as a hobby. For some people, you're like, I just do it because I told I have to, and I know it makes me healthy. So if I wouldn't consider fitness being your thing unless it's actually your thing, but whether that's, shooting a bow or climbing trees or watching birds, whatever it is that you want to do, make sure that you have some sort of hobby and you make it your own and carve out that time for it whenever you can. Now, the next thing is to have a reframe of when you're not doing well. Okay, so don't get in this loop. If you are really busy, your head's full, like your kids are crazy and you snap, you yell at your kids, or you just aren't as present with your kids. Maybe you're on your phone, emails, doing all these other things, and you catch yourself in these moments. You're like, man, I wish I didn't yell, or I wish I was more present, or whatever the case is. You're going to run across these moments. What you have to do is actively make a statement in your mind, be like, okay, that was a miss. That was a failure. I'm not perfect, but I'm getting better. Okay, it's how you reframe it, because one option is just be like, I suck. Like I suck at all this stuff. Like I can't handle it. Like I'm not good at it. And then you will just start to spiral. It won't happen immediately. It'll just be boop, a little bit down, a little bit further down, a little bit further down, a little bit further down. So you need to make sure that you are reframing the conversations in your mind to be able to handle the negative self-talk that comes and be like, hey, I did just do the wrong thing, but I'm actively trying to get better and I'm going to do something differently the next time. Now, the next thing is need crafting. So layer your needs into your daily life. So one way to look at this, specifically if you have kids like I do who have practices all over the place, all throughout the week, is a lot of times you can get too focused as a parent, focusing on the needs of your child. And while they have a lot of needs that need to be met, so do you. So do you, mentally, physically, spiritually, everything. And so you're like, well, when am I going to do these things? I have found, because my kids started sports at very young ages, the best time to do this stuff will be at their practices if you're not actively coaching. Now, sometimes I've been in the coaching situation where you can't always do this, but most parents are not coaching. So if you're one of those parents who are not coaching, use that time. Like don't rush home and try and cook dinner during the practice or whatever, or don't sit in your car while they're doing soccer practice and scroll TikTok or Instagram on your phone. Like those are the worst uses of your time when you might just need that time for yourself. And so what I've seen a lot of people do and what I've done over the years, a lot of kids, like football practices are typically at a track, like there's a field, so I can walk or run or do lunges. I've seen a lot of parents, doing walks more recently. And people didn't used to do this stuff. Utilize that time. Or if you need to go to your car, sit, breathe, meditate, whatever. Just this overlapping of goals with your child's needs is what you need to start fitting in. And that's where life gets a little tight. Time gets a little tight, but these are the things that you need to be focused on for your mental health and to avoid that parental burnout. So all of these things fit within the overarching self-determination theory, which I've just been going deep on lately. So that's relatedness is the first part of that. That's don't parent in isolation, right? That's like making sure you're connected with other people. That's primary importance. The most important thing when it comes to avoiding burnout is making sure that you have a group of people, that you are interacting with them. The second thing is autonomy. So that's keeping something that's yours. That's the hobby. That's the 10-minute selection. And a lot of autonomy is the fact that you selected it, right? It's the fact that you chose to do this and no one else did. That's the main box you're trying to check with autonomy. So it's not just like go pick up a hobby that you hate. It's like, what do I want to do? And actually go do that thing. The third thing is competence, and that is reframing your mistakes as progress, which I talked about. And the last one is need crafting. So that is where it's almost like habit stacking, right? It's like something else is going on and you're doing something at the same time. So kids practice, you're going on a walk. Kids practice, you're going to meditate. Kids doing nap time, you're doing something else, right? Like those are the things, but you need to layer in the self-care side of things and not just always being productive. Because if you are just always looking for productivity, you will eventually burn out. So if you can do those four things, you will be much further away from burning out. So you will start to give yourself a little space, which will help you not burn out as an entrepreneur and not burn out as a parent. And if you can achieve both of those things, I think you are living a life that you will enjoy and you will not be so stressed out all the damn time. But you're going to have to try harder to get it done.